What's the biggest mistake you see leaders making when they first try to integrate AI into their business?
Shiny objects. I want to do everything right now. I want to automate the whole business. But you can't do that until you understand the whole business. If you don't understand the business, you can't do it. And that's the position that we do as well. It's like, I can't help you integrate AI into your business until I understand your business as much as you do. And the only reason I do that is because I want them to explain the business to me that they don't know about. Processes are broken, onboarding's broken, fulfillment's broken. It's like team members aren't scaling, hiring issues, financial issues. Like all of these things behind the scenes are a chaotic mess. The problem that we've continued to see over the last 2 years of building AI for businesses and ourselves is if you don't have your processes in order and this chaotic mess isn't cleaned up, AI is just a tool that enhances these issues. So it's this huge thing that we focus on, whether it's team members, whether it's broken processes, whether it's like your SOPs, whatever it may be. AI is just a tool that amplifies these things. When they're good, they're good. And when they're bad, they're bad.
We are here today because businesses everywhere are feeling the pressure to adopt AI. It's no longer a question of if, but how. Leaders are eager to leverage AI to grow and streamline their companies, but many are finding that when they introduce AI, it doesn't just accelerate their business, it shines a harsh light on broken processes they didn't know existed. The big challenge? Too often, leaders rush to bolt AI onto their operations without first rebuilding the foundation. This leads to frustrated teams, disjointed customer experiences, and growth that stalls before it ever really begins. Jeff MacPherson, co-founder of Moment 37 AI, has spent his career helping companies navigate this exact challenge. Jeff believes that before you can scale with AI, you must first rebuild and improve your processes, ensuring they work seamlessly without AI. His approach focuses on productizing a company's core strengths, mapping the customer journey, and training AI on business unique intellectual talent property so it becomes a powerful ally, not a disruption. As you listen to today's conversation, ask yourself this: are your systems truly ready to scale? Or would introducing AI simply expose cracks in your business that you haven't been able to address yet? Imagine a future where AI doesn't just automate tasks, but actually strengthens your operations, a future where your processes are so clear and resilient that your team is aligned, your customers feel understood, and you've eliminated single points of failure. By the end of this episode, you'll have a roadmap for turning AI from a shiny tool into a lasting competitive advantage. Jeff, welcome to the Built on Purpose podcast.
Thanks for having me, Max.
All right, we're going to jump right in. So I know Jeff, I've met Jeff a couple of times. I was really looking forward to this conversation and topic, but to give the audience a little context of who you are, and if somebody was just tuning in to listen to this podcast right now, what are you going to share with them that will actually be valuable with regard to AI?
So I'm a 3-time tech founder now. This is my 3rd bootstrap tech company. My first software company, I was actually in a lawsuit with Facebook. So I lost my first tech company to one of the big tech giants. I had all my eggs in one basket. And through that learning experience and getting a law degree in 8 months, I was able to learn a lot of things that has positioned not only myself and future companies, but position clients to be able to not be vulnerable to these big tech, and using your experience and everything that you've done over the years to make sure that it is scalable. And this can come from team members, through processes, through everything else. So me being in a legal battle with Facebook and losing my first tech company, which was the first Instagram chatbot. So I've been in conversational marketing for a long time. All of those skill sets in the bad times and the good times has positioned me to be a top authority in the AI space and building what we are today.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to walking through some of this. We're going to walk through some of the stuff that I mentioned in kind of the setup or the intro, so people can kind of understand where you're coming from in solving some of these issues. But you said that AI often exposes broken processes rather than fixes them. Can you explain what you meant by that?
So I saw a quote not long ago, but we've been talking about it for a while, is a lot of our businesses, as much as on the skin of them, they look good. People are generating a ton of revenue and like they're growing really fast. And these are the things that you see on paper or on social media. A lot of the time it is a chaotic mess. Processes are broken, onboarding's broken, fulfillment's broken. It's like team members aren't scaling, hiring issues, financial issues. Like all of these things behind the scenes are a chaotic mess. The problem that we've continued to see over the last 2 years of building AI for businesses and ourselves, it's if you don't have your processes in order and this chaotic mess isn't cleaned up, AI is just a tool that enhances these issues. And this is the big thing. A lot of the times because I do a lot of work with CEOs and the visionaries of the actual business, because we actually have to step back to be able to move forward. And it starts with the visionaries. It really does. Our businesses ran before AI, and AI is just a tool to be able to enhance our pre-existing business, good and bad. So it's this huge thing that we focus on. And that's kind of what we mean. It's like if you've got a chaotic mess and things are broken and you try and plug AI in as the tool, it will just amplify that, expose things a lot quicker, whether it's team members, whether it's broken processes, whether it's like your SOPs, whatever it may be. AI is just a tool that amplifies these things. When they're good, they're good. And when they're bad, they're bad.
All right. So that makes a ton of sense. In context to hiring, we built a tool that's AI enhanced and we're offering it for free. But we're building it around hiring process, and we're very careful about introducing it to the very front end of the process first, so the early adopters understand step by step like what they're doing. Because my fear on the hiring side is there'll obviously be a ton of AI features around hiring tech, but I do believe if you don't understand the fundamentals of hiring process and the steps in a hiring process, that you can make a real mess out of using somebody else's tool that might be doing things that wouldn't align to your hiring process and your hiring philosophy. So that makes a ton of sense. When companies introduce AI, what are some common signs that a process is broken or misaligned?
We see this a lot. So when we work with a client, we're onboarding them, we go through like a strict process and framework that we've just developed over the last couple of years as well. A lot of the time where businesses think that they want AI or that they think is broken isn't typically where the root cause is. So it's like being able to peel back these things. We work with a lot of B2B, a lot of professional services, a lot of agencies, and always come in as like operations is broken, fulfillment's broken. And a lot of the time it's more on the onboarding and the sales process because you have to, that's the top of the customer journey. So be able to collect that information and pass it off to your team is usually where the operations is broken itself. That's why fulfillment's not actually having the same success.
Yeah. And again, that makes a lot of sense in context with we've been messing around with it. And like for me, I'm more on the sales side anyway, talking to customers. But the first tool that I think has been super valuable to us is the one that I'm sharing for free, which is called role visioning, which allows clients and potential customers and anybody to basically have multiple stakeholders talk to a bot, and it clearly defined the opportunity profile or job description, search strategy, and then a ideal candidate profile. And like, in my opinion, after hiring over 50,000 people, like you need that to start. If you don't know that, you don't have the roadmap to like continue. If you skip that, and then AI is only going to give you the information it can based off of the information it knows. I would 100% agree with you on that. Can you share a story of a business that had a major aha moment when AI uncovered flaws in their workflow?
So, I mean, because we work with such a foundational process, it's like we go through like a blueprint phase is what we call it, roadmap, blueprint, audit, whatever people want to call it. We call it a blueprint. And it's like I was saying, we bring in the visionaries and then the leadership team. This is who we work with in the early stage. When we onboard people, we actually get them to fill in essentially a form, confidential form, where everybody's got to fill it in differently, but it's the same questions, because this is a huge thing that people are disconnected with in AI. When we get these forms through and all the answers are completely different, what do you believe you're the best at? What are you guys selling? What are your goals for growth? All of these things. And the whole leadership team is not aligned, as well as like the visionary is not aligned to it as well. You can't be aligned. Your AI can't be aligned with you either, because it doesn't have the output, the example, the goal of what you're trying to accomplish. And that's basically what prompting is. So we start with that basic thing. When we onboard a client as well, and we're going through this blueprint phase, we know, and like all of our businesses are like this way, it's like that chaotic mess that I was saying before. So it's like we go through our processes and allow them to walk us through their customer journey. So this is how we explain it. Everybody's got a customer. Without customers, we wouldn't have a business. We just wouldn't. So from this time that you do marketing to the time that they see a website or an ad and all the way through, we go very, very granular with it. We allow their leadership team to be able to communicate with us, and we're just good at prompting the questions. They start understanding where their gaps are without even us doing the work. So they're starting to solve their own issues. So we have a lot of leadership teams that say, if I never actually implemented AI into my business and I didn't work with you guys moving past the blueprint, how you've changed my business process is I'm going to scale regardless of AI, which is exactly what we want. Because just like back in the day when electricity was plugged into a production line, like you look at like the old cartoons, Mickey Mouse and Charlie Brown, it's like you got the belts and the steam and all that fun stuff. The problem with that, when they first introduced electricity into them, it was very ineffective, inefficient, because they were plugging it in different spots along the production line until they came along and they actually redid the production line. So AI as the tool can go in and actually run the whole thing. And this is the problem. People are plugging in AI to an old process that's just not ready for it. So it's like, this is where we start. The aha moments for us, we're actually seeing it pre-AI, which is great because it's a mindset thing. As soon as people buy into the mindset of like foundation, processes, then scale, the unlock that these companies get is tremendous. It really is.
Oh, man, I love that. I mean, it's basically, great businesses are built on repeatable, scalable, processes. And so by asking them to clarify what those are in the beginning, I don't think many people really do that. To start, they think AI is going to come help them with that. And that's
Correct.
the work that they always have to start with. That's amazing. And then tell me, so I think this was my perspective at one point was like, this is when maybe last year when AI was a little bit newer. I always felt like the best way to implement AI, and there's a lot of companies out there that do it this way, is to find people within the organization, figure out what AI tools can help them with their like individual jobs. And then they figure out how to use it and everybody starts to like engage with it and learn a little bit more about it. And then you've got them on board with, kind of using AI. What I'm hearing from you is a little bit different than that and actually makes more sense. Is like, that's probably a good first step. But the main step that you're talking about is you have to get the leaders personally to rebuild and improve processes. Otherwise, they can't, their team's not going to automatically do it without the leaders doing it first. So talk about why that's so important. Why not just delegating it versus like doing it through the leadership team first?
Where we've noticed as well, and like it's pretty blunt, but it's the honest truth. And I had to go through it as well. I mean, especially as like successful business owners, like we've had a lot of success in our different levels, whatever that may be. It's unfortunately business owners at different levels and leadership teams have to go back into the weeds to be able to do this stuff. Like we've been built to delegate and delegate these things out, but it starts from the top again. It really does. So like there's a lot of people that hire too quick. In this case with you guys, is like you do a lot of hiring for a lot of high profile people, but just like lower level hires, like you're bringing things in to delegate, but you're actually hiring people just because you don't want to do the work, which is a huge issue. So it's like being able to have your leadership team understand and drop their ego is the big thing. And this is where it's a mindset to the whole picture. So having them identify with each other where the processes are, it's like, it's amazing how quickly that ego drops for them to go back into the weeds so they can provide the right resources to the team. Because a lot of these AI tools on the market, they're ChatGPT wrappers, as they call them. When you sign up for an AI tool, it's a system prompt that's built by the company. Then there's your company information in, whatever it may be. And then there's output. The problem is nobody knows what that output is until they start putting it in. But if your company knew how to rebuild the process, they did that, the foundation, the production line first, and then everybody in your organization knew how to just prompt properly, which is just essentially an SOP to an extent. It really is. A prompt is like an SOP, and you knew how to give it the right information and look for the right output. You don't need a lot of these shiny objects. You really don't. You can remove them because AI is your data in, whether it's an SOP or a transcription or in terms of like training materials or hiring materials. Then there's your prompt, which is typically just a SOP or a framework, a strategy. And then there's the output. The output is where it becomes unique because you need to be an expert to know what that output is. Sure, I can write copy using AI, but I'm not an expert copywriter. So I don't know the difference between good and bad. You guys are experts in hiring. So it's like you guys are better at hiring than me. So this is where it's like your strategies and your frameworks become so valuable to these AI because you still take company information in. You've got your prompt, but it's the prompt actually is outputted by the frameworks and strategies that you've done. And that's the training piece. So it doesn't have to be complicated. Starts with the leadership team, redo the processes because you have to, remove the overwhelm for your team members because you have to do the work before they can, or you can't delegate properly. And then just show your team how to prompt properly, which is essentially just doing better SOPs.
Got it. Would you say, I don't know, I was listening to, I think a podcast this morning, I think it was Stephen Bartlett. He had a AI expert that was like doomsday like guy that's pretty much saying like he's going to eliminate 99% of the, I mean, that type of conversation, which I'm not suggesting could be wrong. It's just a pretty aggressive like prediction. But one of the topics was, and it had to do with what we're talking about, was they were talking about how, people that are starting businesses with AI sometimes are at a huge advantage from ones that are like trying to take this, disjointed, people heavy structure and they're trying to figure out how to use AI. How much of an advantage would you say, like, and I'm stereotyping a little bit, but young, savvy, tech people, in this day and age are at an advantage starting a company fresh with AI building processes versus taking an old clunky 30-year-old company that's trying to implement it right now?
Massive advantage, huge advantage. A couple reasons. One, you're not dealing with habits. That's a big thing. It's like businesses running in 30 years. You're baked into these habits. Your whole team is, your whole organization is, like your leadership team is. Typically, like the executives, like they're not doing as much work anymore. So there's a lot more red tape. Like there's just so much there. I explained this when I spoke at COO Alliance in February. AI for a lot of companies is like pulling down four walls in your house, fixing everything in it, and then standing the four walls up without the people inside getting wet. It's really difficult. So it's like, how do you do that? Well, I mean, one wall at a time. Like these are the things like you can get into, but it's a more of a complex system. Businesses who's starting out, also with the 30-year-old businesses, they might not be as tech savvy. They just may not be. The younger generations are typically a little bit more tech savvy. They're up to speed. They're following this stuff. But these businesses that are starting fresh right now, whether it's an agency, whether like it doesn't really matter what it is, there's zero processes. So their production line starts from generating content or generating leads or whatever it may be. And like if they follow that production line, they'll build it right from the beginning instead of trying to figure out where I need to start plugging all this stuff in to be able to fix my business that's technically been broken for a lot of years.
Yeah, no, that makes a ton of sense. I mean, that is pretty basic, like kind of thinking in a way. So you talk about productizing a company's core strengths. What does it look like in practice? Say a company is following exactly what you're instructing them to do. What does that look like?
Well, I mean, the example is like what you guys are doing. Like you guys have productized your expertise into helping people hire better. That's one. We onboarded an agency. This is a really good one where it's like we went through the whole process. And the big thing with agencies are struggling. They really are. They always have clients, all this fun stuff, B2B, professional services. We have clients. It really is. Typically, these service-based businesses, they add more services because I think it's going to drive more revenue instead of like doubling down on the thing like you're the best at. So this one agency that we onboarded, do the whole process, go through the blueprint, and they believe they're the best at email marketing. Like that's why people stay, not necessarily why they come, but that's why people stay. So we're going through that and getting granular again. The whole email side of the business is in one person's head. Strategies, everything, framework. Sure, they got the processes there, but one guy has everything. So bluntly enough, I was like, what happens if he gets hit by a bus? I mean, you lose everything. Unfortunately, the hit by a bus syndrome is real. And this is like learning from the Facebook lawsuit was so valuable because it's not if, it's when. Because he could leave, he could ask for more money. Like there's a lot of vulnerability for a business owner when it comes to these situations. So that main thing is like, okay, well, let's get the strategies out of his head and let's start training AI. Because one, he's getting burnt out. So let's actually give him some time back so he can do some other things. Then from there is like, as the AI gets better, your clients can essentially just use the AI instead of you having to deliver the service. Whether it's like a touch point or a free aspect, whatever it may be, you slowly start taking your core services based on training it and working with your own clients, getting paid for it. And then you slowly start productizing because you start getting your time back. It starts getting smarter and you don't have to do as much work. So you can essentially get paid to bootstrap your own best practice so you can sell it downstream.
Yeah, I love that. So it's like really taking advantage of your unique intellectual property and training AI how to do it, which I think for some people is scary because they think they're handing over their basically intellectual property to whoever, behind the curtain. But what do you say to somebody that's hesitant because they are, I guess, paranoid?
I mean, it depends on the angle they're trying to look at. Like your unique service, let's call it, is the information in, call it client information in. That's the client. So you need that. So you need to get better at extracting that information from them. So that's a new process that you have to build because you have to take that information and train it the AI. The AI is frameworks, strategies, past examples, best case studies, SOPs, like all of this stuff essentially builds your agent. And then you just continue to dangle the carrot in front of it saying, yes, this is a good output. Yes, this is a good output. No, this is a bad output. People don't have to have access to it because at the end of the day, it's like it can get to a point, just like a ChatGPT wrapper. Clients come in, you've built such a good onboarding process where they give you the information and the AI won't stop until it gets that information from them. And then once it's happy with it, then you've got all the system prompts in behind the scenes that delivers the output for them. So you don't have to give up your strategies to anybody. You can just house it internally.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. It makes sense. What are some of the risks, if at all risks, with solely relying on like generic AI tools instead of developing AI that like reflects a company's unique systems and knowledge?
So these generic tools, unless there's like a unique modal to them, unique aspect to them, like very specific niches, like to me, it's like what you guys, very specific. It's very complex because you're dealing with people. When you get into like legality, these sorts of things are very, very niche. Multimodal, voice, avatars, stuff like this. The big thing with people, they're signing up to a lot of tools that are doing very generic stuff. That is, it's a very simple thing to prompt yourself if you know how to do it properly. And prompting is not complicated. It really isn't. Again, I always use the comparison. It's just like an SOP, just in prompt form. It's essentially the same thing. People are signing up for these tools, and what they're doing is you're making your team less effective because you have Janet from the marketing team. She's got 15 different tools she needs to use that she's trained them 15 different times. And it's like we call it Black Friday syndrome. Oh, Black Friday comes, you need to go and train the discount or whatever it may be on the 15 different tools. Then Cyber Monday comes, you got to train it 15 more times. And then Tuesday comes and you got to revert it back to everything. This is what people are doing. And in the last 2 years, we've seen 4 AI callers. That's a lot of callers. What happens when the next one comes out and you're trained on everything and the next one's better and the next one's better and the next one's better? AI is literally, again, just your company information, which the company should own. There's the prompt, and if you know how to prompt, which is just like an SOP, and then you've got the example output. So you've done the work already. So if you just tell it to kind of go towards the example as many times as possible, you don't need a lot of these third-party tools. They become a distraction. They become a higher cost. They become overwhelmed. You don't need it.
Yeah, and what I've like learned just in the process that's, in my opinion, not super technical. We understand hiring pretty well.
Yeah.
But when you start giving it all the stuff that you're talking about, the input, the process, the output, it actually starts to ask you questions that you didn't even know you needed to be asked to get smarter. So if you get the foundation right, it literally will stop and not produce the output and start asking you more specific questions. And I think that's where AI blows my mind. It's like, it just knows, like, because we give it some input that might be a little bit different. It might have a call transcript that might have a couple things missing. It picks up on it and it won't produce the output unless it knows, to your point, that it needs this information. It'll specifically ask you, can you give me this specific information, or do you want me to continue? And I think it's just genius, like, on how that, works and how fast it can basically, compute data.
Yeah. I think there's another huge problem, and we see it all the time. It's like people are trying to build like these super agents or these ninja workflows, as we joke around and call them, where it's like if you give AI too many steps, it won't get it right by the end. So it's like, hey, I want you to go and research the web and then write a hook and then write a body and then write this and then write that and then send an email and then follow up. Like, you're trying to build all this in. It's like you would never ask a human to do that. And if you did, you would break it up into like 4 SOPs, 5 SOPs, so they could do one at a time. That's just typically, it's common sense is really what it is. The big thing with it is, and I use the analogy, is like the old Christmas lights, when one bulb went out, they all went out and you had to check every single one. That's how people are building AI right now. But imagine one bulb went out and you knew exactly where to go to be able to fix it. It's like, that's how you should be building agents, like small incremental prompts that essentially get chained together, chain prompting. So it's like you can get better outputs along the way. This is how you get more consistent output. The other aspect of it where people are being disconnected is like, you are an expert hirer and I want to hire somebody. It's a really bad example. I'll go back to the email because it's easier and we were just dealing with it. Like, you are an expert email marketer and I want you to output an email for this client that does this and blah, blah, blah. And like, you give it all the instructions that you want to do. You're doing it backwards, funny enough. So it's reverse engineering is how you should be building prompts. And this is how we make sure that businesses have done the process first. It's like, hey, I want to hire somebody in my business. Okay, great. The first thing I ask is, have you hired somebody before? If you haven't, it's like, okay, well, we're not going to do that yet. We're going to start with you where you've done it before. Have you written an email? Have you done a sales call? Have you done these things? Because right then, 1, I know they've done the process. 2, they've got an example of the output we need to teach AI to get to. So we work backwards. Give it the example. Then it's like, okay, who's the expert that's going to say, yes, this is right when agent does the work? And then all you do is feed it the information. It's a 4-step process. It's very, very simple, and it's copy paste once you understand it.
I love that. And you're kind of getting into another topic, like at least my mind's going here, is mapping the customer journey. Because you started, the example you're giving is figuring out how to develop leads, like, how you're reaching out to them, how you're emailing them. Like now you're walking through the customer journey. But talk about like thinking about it from that perspective is essential before integrating AI.
I mean, any example. So creating content. Okay, where do you want to create content? Okay, I want to do it on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. What type of content? It's like you have to, where are you getting the data from? Have you posted on these before? Like, this is how granular we go. Okay, great. You've got all that stuff. We could do AI for that. Then there's like the people go on a website and let's say they have to go through some sort of sales process. Okay, how do you collect this information before the sales call? Do you have an onboarding form? Do you have these things? It's like, okay, AI could potentially help there. So it's like, it's getting granular at each spot. Then you have the sales call with somebody. You've got the information that you follow. Then there's a script that the person should follow, so we can essentially analyze the script to see if they're better. Then it's like, once you've got the transcription, do you send them a follow-up email using AI? Have you sent a follow-up email AI before? How many follow-ups do you do? Once they close, how do they get pushed to the next thing in line? So it's like, this is the additional steps that you need to ask, because each one is its own prompt for an agent. Like, we can go through, it's like some businesses can go through like 100 different steps before they're even at fulfillment. They really could. Because if you've got 10 different services that you provide, each one that has technically a different onboarding. For AI,
yeah, that can get complex fast.
It can get very complex very fast. And this is why it's like, we joke around about this as well. It's like, how many people have you truly seen in your circle, and this is for the audience as well, that have had marginal success with AI, major profit increase, major cuts in their business, like true operational growth? It's not very many. Why? Because nobody knows what they're doing. They're just listening to people on social media. They're listening to YouTube. They're listening to these gurus, and they're just plugging tools in, which are making their team less effective. And they're not getting the outputs that the internet's telling them they can get, because it doesn't work that way. It just doesn't.
Yeah, I think some people, and I'm being half serious, but some people just look at it as like their friend and they don't mind having longer conversations with them, when it should be like, how do we have the shortest conversation to get the output we want? And honestly, I see that in people. Like, they literally, and I think we read about it, they like they like talking to AI. It gives them somebody to talk about, but it's not effective because it's not really saving them time in some cases.
Yeah, and AI is built like ChatGPT. Like, the core prompt, it's somewhere on the lines, it's like, as a helpful assistant. Like, if you notice, majority of the time, it's telling you that you've done good, or it's like pointing you in the right direction. But it's like, if I did something to you and you weren't happy with it, you're going to tell me you're not happy with it, or it's not right. You're going to provide me with that feedback. So there's a lot of the time it's like people are becoming very close with these tools because it's giving them that positive reinforcement in a lot of ways that it probably shouldn't. And like, that's a deep, dark rabbit hole we could get ourselves into that we probably should stay away from.
Well, speaking of deep, dark rabbit holes, what is your perspective? And I'm not, I don't think anybody holds anybody to predictions when it comes to AI, but as far as eliminating jobs and, workers and efficiencies, how do you see this playing out for most companies? Let's use a professional services company, for example. Should the goal be to do more with less people? I mean, that's truly what a capitalist environment would look like. But how would you think about if you're effectively creating a process, customer journey, and AI is obviously helping do things more effectively? I mean, then that has to be at the bare minimum, you can do more with less, correct?
Essentially, when people come, so there's also the aspect of, what does the business want to do? What's the goal of the business? Like, do you want to grow it? Are you cool with where you are? Like, what's the goal of the actual business itself? Because humans are needed with AI. AI is not that smart. It really isn't. It can do a lot of really cool things, but unless used properly and used by humans, it's just not doing it right now. Sure, there's some people that are really getting into it, but if it was 100% autonomous, it wouldn't need us, and it would just run it so it still needs some sort of human in the loop, is what we call it. We haven't seen, there's two cases. When we work directly with the business, we haven't replaced anybody in any aspect, in any case study that we have, because businesses want to grow. So we take it and we amplify the people in the position. What has happened is, what it does is expose people that aren't effective in their business. And it's more of like, should this person have been there anyways? This is where it starts to do it. And that's why we go through that process in the beginning. Should that person have been there anyway? One of the examples I bring that up is, again, one of these other clients going through the same process, same onboarding, he was really upset about one of his team members in the back end. It was like, let me go through this process with them. I can guarantee it's not this person. Came back, they're in great terms now because they went through this process. They really didn't. So, and two sides of it. One, it'll give people kind of like that comfortability back of, okay, I am valued here. Here's why, because it's not me. Everybody's pointing their fingers at me. And then two, people need to be careful that if you position yourselves as somebody who's doing something but not actually doing anything, it's just a matter of time before AI tells the person who is paying your bills that you're no longer needed because you're not in the right seat. As like EOS, right person, wrong seat, or wrong person, wrong seat. There's that. The other aspect we have, so we built a custom tool for a client. It was a book generator. They taught people how to write books. That was it. They taught people how to write books. And then they taught people how to find ghostwriters, contracted ghostwriters to be able to write the books that they taught them how to do. The problem with it, funny enough, they had ghostwriters who ghosted them. They'd collect the money and they'd ghost them. So because it was a contract, it wasn't somebody actually in the organization, we built the whole process because they know how to write the books. They did internally. So we ended up replacing ghostwriters from the whole process. So these students could still go through the course, learn it, be the expert, prompt the system properly, and it followed the processes. So we were able to remove all ghostwriters in that period of time. This company ended up generating $2 million in 10 days when we launched it to their community. It's crazy. And that's what we did. We took their expertise, their IP, which is teaching people how to write books, and we made a better process for their customers to get quicker access to it.
Got it. Yeah, that's amazing. When it comes to all the different AI tools out there, when you build a process, do you typically is there a redundancy? You typically will take I don't know, Claude and ChatGPT both and use them both just in case one upgrades and and it gets better versus relying on one that could change dramatically and kind of change maybe some of the process or some of the effectiveness in kind of what it's doing.
Yeah. So, I mean, we built our own software company. It's called Cloud 37, where we predominantly use OpenAI and Claude. ChatGPT, or ChatGPT is, we use it for some things, and then Claude, we use it for other. Claude is typically better for your coding aspects or your writing, and then your ChatGPT is more of your reasoning, your logistical, those sorts of stuff. But it just really depends. But we only really stick to those two models main in our system. Now, there's your Grok and your Perplexity that do deep research. These are really good. Why Grok is good? Because of X, it does actually deep research on community conversation, in all the comments in the threads. So you get human conversation, and Perplexity does deep research on the web, which is good. So there's just your balance there. There's so many. It's just, we use OpenAI, Claude for almost everything. And we use Grok and Perplexity for research. That's typically where businesses are falling into. Other than that, I mean, you got to be pretty advanced for it to see a marginal swing.
And when companies take the right steps to ensure AI enhances the customer experience instead of just automating tasks, is that a problem that some people run into where they're just automating stuff, but it's not actually enhancing the customer experience? Because obviously the goal is to enhance the customer experience. They're the one, that the reason why the business exists in the first place.
So again, it comes back to, it's what part of customer experience are you trying to enhance? Because that's from the time that they see an ad to the time that, not even that they purchased, the time that you fulfilled it. And to me, it's it can go as deep as, how are they reoccurring customers? Have they bought from you again? So which part of the customer experience are you trying to enhance? Most people will go after onboarding as a better customer experience, but should you? I don't really know. I don't know your customers yet. I don't know your process. Or it's after they've purchased, you give them such a good customer experience that they refer a next person. Or it's how do I get a referral from? All these things come into play. When people have support issues, they submit a support ticket. Is it answering them faster? That's part of customer experience. Is it taking those questions they ask and turning it into content? So it's before they get into the funnel, you're educating them before so they don't have the issues when they purchase. That's part of customer experience. All of these things start coming together because the whole thing is a customer experience. Because if you don't have your customers, there's no experience.
Yeah, I mean, we're a purpose-based leadership search firm, but the purpose of business is to get customers. If you can't do that, you can't really live out whatever other purpose, is near and dear to your heart.
Exactly. And the thing is with customer experience is ask them, how can I make your experience better? That's where the amount you can, with AI, you have the ability to ask the question better because it can be personalized, and then analyze the information better to deliver better service or product to them. Like it doesn't have to be that complicated.
Yeah. I mean, I think in some cases, at least for us on the hiring side, you kind of have to explain what problem you're actually solving because sometimes they don't know and they don't care because hiring for some people is like a task that they do a few times a year and they don't really want to master it. So you have to explain, like, dude, listen, if you can just follow these steps that I put in front of you, you're going to be able to do this very effectively over and over and over. So you kind of got to explain the pain. But I hear you. But that's been something that has blown me away because I'm so in this world of hiring that I'm like, this is the best tool ever. Like, this is going to get you so far down the road. Like, it's going to give you information that you would have never got at this point. So it is interesting to really, understand the customer journey and figure out what it is you're ultimately trying to do with the customer and what point.
Yeah, because in your case, because you're dealing with like higher profile people, and like I know the process because we've had the conversations before, so I know kind of your process to an extent. But it's like understanding besides them wanting to hire is like, why are they hiring? What's their customer journey? Like there's more in there that could potentially get them excited to be able to follow your processes a little bit deeper. And that's for me, just in this simple conversation, that would be the stuff that I'd be trying to extract to make the customer experience on their life easier so they get the stuff done on your side. But again, this is you can get way into the weeds that way too.
Yeah, I'm getting some free consulting along this conversation as well. But so what I've always kind of thought about when it came to this first tool, the idea is just to get them on the platform to solve their first problem and then get them to understand like, okay, that is helpful for that problem. And then roll out right in front of them the other problems that it can actually solve by just getting that information. But I don't want to try to explain that it's going to solve all these problems until they're able to understand the first few kind of like steps that it's helping them with. And one of them is, maybe I'll get some real-time feedback here on it. One of them is, I think a lot of managers and people that are leading people, I think most of the time, and this is like just feedback that I get from a lot of people, most managers aren't good at, and this is kind of a negative term, so I'd probably word this a little bit different when selling it, but performance managing, meaning a regular conversation that you give the person that's hired for the role to talk to how they think they're doing in the role based on what they're actually hired to do. So in the tool will be a automatic conversation that happens either quarterly or every 6 months. I'd say every year for sure, but I'd probably say more quarterly. So I want to make it so it's sticky in that way where it's automatically having that conversation, sending that to their supervisor and helping them crack that nut of getting that done, because I think that they are just not doing it because they're not reminded to do it. So this would be a good reminder for them to do it. But I think it'll be a good way of keeping it sticky and keeping them on the platform. So that's the way I'm kind of thinking about it is it's not just about hiring because you're collecting that information. And to your point about customer journey is like, what else can you gather and what else can you help them achieve from the information they've already got through the process?
Yeah. So I will give you some real-time feedback. It's like sell them what they want, give them what they need type deal. There's that aspect, but you can give them too much. You really can, especially in how fast paced everything is now. We've noticed working with hundreds of businesses, too much data is not the best thing either, because what do I do with it? Like you actually create more overwhelm. If you give them more data, it's like, I don't know what to do with it. So it's like extracting data with intention is important too, but giving them the process on how they can use it for the next thing. Because a lot of our businesses, when you get information, whether it's like advertising or like key performance metrics, like on a human, you're looking in the rear view mirror. How has your performance been in the last 3, 6, 12 months? But AI allows you to anticipate the future. So it's like if you can give them the future of what you're going to do with it to help them steer down the road, this is what the anticipation is. I've been reading the book Atomic Habits. I don't know if you read it before.
Oh yeah, I've read that. Yep.
So then this is what he talks about. It's like addiction doesn't come actually from like, let's say the drug itself. It comes from the anticipation of the feeling. So it's like, if you can start focusing this with the data, it's like, okay, I'm anticipating, it's like, I'm collecting these key performance metrics so I can do the next thing with it. That's where people break habits, because that's what we're in right now, Max. It's like with AI, it's people are in their processes and we have to break the habits for them to follow potentially new processes that we believe is going to happen, because we're making up the industry, which is crazy too. So it's like and that's how we've seen the success is too much information is too much information. It's like just because you're collecting data doesn't mean it's going to be valuable for them, because it's just like your Google Drive. If you have all this information in Google Drive, are you going to use it all? No, it's all legacy data at the end of the day. It's like when we upload information into Cloud 37 for a client, we upload the relevant information and then let the AI collect it over time to be able to start doing the next thing. So it's like for your example there, it's like tell them what they want and then give them what they need. But that need is what can they do next with it? Tell them what they're going to do next with it. Because that's going to that's going to make them excited about that next thing.
Well, my theory is based on what I've seen the capabilities of AI and it being able to critically think with a lot of data points is that if they're using it for hiring on the front end, defining roles, and if they're using it to help the people that they hire calibrate, because I think it all matters. I think the best way to lead people is to ask the employee how they think they're doing in their role.
Yeah,
Because
I agree.
that's what matters the most. So you do that. So they're on a regular basis doing that, let's say quarterly. Then once they've continued to hire people on the same platform, they've continued to check in quarterly with each one of these people. I think with all that data, it will easily be able to start to point out gaps of things that they will need, and then all of a sudden that's where people would be like, wow, because I followed the process, I'm not only getting a better way to hire people, putting them in a better place to help manage themselves and us to manage them, but also to figure out where the gaps and the holes are where we can provide them better tools or whatever it might look like.
Correct. And like you said it right there. It's like you have to give them the process to be able to follow it, because if they don't check in with their if this manager doesn't check in with their hire and don't feed the system, it's a broken process. So it's like that's where your gap's going to be working with humans, because they have to check in with the person. If they're not checking in with them, then the system's not doing what it's supposed to do. And this is where the human problem is in. Some people are going to do it, some people aren't. So it's like this is where we focus on that process so strictly in the beginning, because you're bound to, and goes to like sales and marketing. Sales always blames marketing, marketing always blames sales. So is it your hiring process or your tool, or is it the manager?
Yeah.
And this is where people will go. But if everybody follows your process, without a doubt that it worked, but this is how they have to follow. So you're breaking habits within people's processes. And that's why we do that piece in the beginning, because it's so important.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, there's a pretty well-known person I was just talking about that is building or investing in a lot of AI stuff. And I was kind of explaining kind of how I was thinking through with regard to hiring. And they kind of only want to see stuff that literally feels like magic for the user. Like they give it something and it runs off and produces it like an output where they're like, wow. But I like inspiration. But I kind of feel like, do you think, I'll ask this as a question, don't you think people have to kind of understand the steps a little bit to understand how they got the output? Or do you think people just want to do brainless work where they just give an input, the output comes out, they have no idea how it came out?
Well, I mean, there's always going to be people who cheat the system and always want the quick money and quick results. Where we see that future is those people are actually going to lose in the long run, because their systems are going to be broken. They're not going to be able to catch up to the people who built it right, because the gap between upper class and lower class, whether it's just like people who are advancing with AI and people who are not. And this is where I say it's like, there's people who leverage AI and there's people who use AI. People who use AI are going to get left behind so fast. It's scary. They really are, because you're not going to be able to keep up. It's just going to be impossible. And this is where the disconnect is. So all these shiny objects, they scare the hell out of me. Facebook lawsuit issue is like people are diving in. They're not building it properly because they just don't know. You don't know what you don't know, which is completely fine. And this is why I do so many podcasts with people, because we truly believe in this is the way it's going to be, because it's just common sense that people are going to get 6 months, 8 months, 12 months down the line. And they're going to be like, oh shit, I didn't set it up right, because I've got a whole bunch of nonsense in this chaos that I've already built. And then they got to start new. And these new young guns have came through from a fresh business and have just smoked them. Took all of their clients at a fraction of the cost.
Yeah. I mean, the way I kind of started thinking about this last week, I think it was a podcast that I listened to, and they did, you probably heard this somewhere, but they did kind of a review of 3 different groups. One group that wrote essays with complete AI, one group that used Google and then wrote essays from there, and then one that wrote them from scratch. And this isn't a peer-reviewed thing, but it started to raise people some concern with the people that the ones that you talked about that are just taking shortcuts and building a house of cards, that are getting the right output temporarily, but it's probably not going to last as things change. And it got me thinking, and I think I put out a piece of content on this. It's because of AI, we've almost gone full circle where we went through an era of building apps that can help you be more efficient. And then we got to a point now where we're like, we have basically AI tools that are only going to get better, that are getting it so you take shortcuts. You can take a shortcut for anything. You can take a shortcut for any type of critical thinking, for quarterly planning. You can just start, talking to AI and just say, hey, here's what I'm looking to do. But it doesn't enable you to go down the roads and the paths and hit the dead ends and learn exactly why you built this in the first place. I think this is also the same reason I equate it to working out. Like there's shortcuts to working out. You can do a lot of stuff that's shortcut. You can get liposuction. You can take Ozempic.
That's a
And
very good example. Those are really
and
good
I feel
examples.
like it's all like in my head, it all is connected and be like, oh shit, like the new end thing is to still do the work to understand how it's done and automate knowing how it's done. And that's how you're going to win the game in the end.
100%. And this is why, like, I work with, once we start working with clients directly, I do a lot of work with the CEOs, the visionaries, because one, had to go through it as a visionary myself. As much as, again, you have the success, it's like you've got it, like it'll expose you for everything. It really will. Selfishly, you see a lot of fake it till you make it. You do, and people have the success and don't hate the player, hate the game. But it's going to be nice to see like the people who work extremely hard get that success that they deserve because they're just sticking to what actually works and it's working. Like you still have to put in the work. You want to be in shape, you got to put in the work. You got to sleep better, you got to eat healthy, you got to do the thing to be able to be a healthier person. It's the same thing with AI. This is just a tool to be able to help you. That's it.
Yeah. No, 100%. That's kind of where I've gone full circle. And I always relate it to hiring and hiring process. And like, I believe hiring process, it's like building a muscle. And I think if you want to scale your business, you have to build that muscle. You can't skip it and outsource all of it or build some AI tool that basically is, doing all the things that some sort of human connection needs to be involved with. So
yeah, and you can, it's just going to get you so far, and then you're going to have to start new when you want to do it right.
I wonder how many less books people are reading because of AI. I've never really thought of it. That's the first thing that hits me is like, I got to be honest. I've probably read a few less books because I've been tinkering around and like doing research with AI. So it's probably something to look at out there.
And funny enough, I actually started reading more books because I was never a big reader. I started reading more books because what I'm trying to do is compare. I believe people who make the most money with AI are the people who are going to be able to communicate it the best. Really are. Analogies, right brain all day. Because as AI progresses, it's going to be able to do more things. So it's like I'm continuing to learn how to communicate it. And you probably notice I do a lot of analogies. Like I really do. It's like I try and digest it in a way where people understand what's going on because it's not complicated. We're just making it complicated as complex humans that we do. So with reading books like The Science of Scaling, I don't know if you've read this book, fantastic book. It's like comparing them. It's like why you should read this book and how it's going to help you implement AI. Because AI is the most successful people we've seen are people with the best mindsets on how to use AI. Like it's a mindset. It's all mindset is from the top all the way down. If you have a team with the best mindset, it's like you'll win. You can't lose.
Yeah. I mean, I say this very humbly, but from an assessment standpoint, from like a TTI, like motivators and behaviors, my motivator is utilitarian is like one of my top motivators, which is like, I want to understand the ROI of my time at all times. And I feel like I've been grappling with AI, and what's been driving me is like figuring out, like not minding going through the long points, knowing that by going down these long roads and then automating it, like it's ultimately saving me a ton of time down the road. But you got to be careful about skipping too many steps in order to get there also.
Yeah, because also as a visionary, it's like we can throw a lot of things on your operators and your team that actually makes them less effective because you're just like your AI is giving visionaries more vision, which is also dangerous for business too. Because you could give too many things to a company because you can do anything, which is dangerous.
Yeah. Man, this has been great. If you don't mind, I'm just going to jump into some like more rapid fire questions just to like keep your brain moving. If you want to pass on a question, feel free to pass on it. I don't want to put you overly on the spot because some of them are sometimes can be a little difficult, but what's the most overrated AI tool or trend you're seeing right now?
AI callers.
Wow. Right out of the gate. And how come? You say I want to ask too many questions, but I want to know on this one.
They're spammy. They don't work. There's some that can work. There's unique use cases for them, and we have seen the success, but people come in, it's very shiny object. I want an AI caller for my business. You've never had a cold outreach in your life. You're not like, it's not going to work. AI callers, I think, are one of the most overrated things right now. because we just don't see AI closing deals, doing overrated.
Got it. Okay. And if a company could only focus on one thing this year to prepare for AI, what should it be?
If a company could focus on one thing this year, what would it be?
To prepare for AI, yeah. I mean, we've talked a lot about
Yeah,
process.
go back to map out your customer journey from the start to finish. Go as granular as possible. Bring your whole leadership team together. Call it whatever day you want. Go through that process and start understanding where the actual chaos lies. And then, other than that, really defining what you believe you're the best at and just narrowing down on that to start. It just will remove the overwhelm.
Yeah, I do. Do most clients, again, normally I don't go into detail on these, but like with you, I kind of want to know because I think people are thinking the same thing. When you think about customer journey, I would imagine most clients, based on kind of what they're calling us for, is customer acquisition. So, like, how far upstream do you typically start? And, and we don't have to get into tons of detail, but like, how far upstream do you typically start where you're automating like the marketing piece and, all that?
I mean, so all of our organic content, both my business partners and mine, is about 90% AI automated. It really is. So AI, it's a good question. So everybody wants more customers. They really do. But you're competing in a very expensive world right now. Running paid advertising is challenging. There's a lot of people who run paid advertising with no organic, which is kind of crazy to us. So it's like if you could start putting out more organic using AI, and then you could find a winning organic post, then you start spending money on it that way. This is a really good way to start putting more, because AI is not there to run your paid advertising yet. We haven't seen it. There's a couple tools that are coming around. Acquisition is great. It really is. But what we've noticed in this acquisition world is a lot of people have more of an offer issue than an acquisition issue. It's like they're not positioned right. They're not positioning themselves in authority. An example of that is another agency, another B2B came through and it's like, okay, what do you sell? It's like, oh, we sell content and meta, but like I'm struggling to get more leads. I mean, more clients to convert because there's just so many people who do content and advertising. It's like, okay. It's like, well, when a client comes to you, it's like, what do you believe you're the best at? It's like, well, we get the best conversions, I believe, on the market. It's like, well, you don't sell content and meta. Those are the tools to be able to get better conversions. So position yourself as a conversion partner and give them the content and meta. Because if you can give them away, like even for us, we help businesses build custom AI agents like throughout your process. I'll give you unlimited agents. I don't care. How many do you want? 1,000? That's a lot. That's a big one, but I'll give you unlimited agents for your business. I don't know how long it's going to take. I really don't. There's complexity there because agents to me are being commoditized. Because you look on YouTube, they're really easy. ChatGPT, I can build a prompt. It's more of a positioning and an authority thing I think people are struggling with on the acquisition side. And that's why their costs are becoming extremely high. And they're not putting enough content on social media, which you should be able to with AI. People are lazy. They don't want to do the work.
I got it. Yeah, that makes sense. What's a common AI myth that drives you absolutely crazy?
An AI myth?
Yeah.
AI myth. I mean, there's the one saying out there. I don't know if it's not really a myth. I've seen it a million times. AI isn't going to replace you. Somebody who uses AI is going to replace you. You've probably heard that quote a billion times. Yes and no. It's like people who use AI effectively are going to replace you. There's a little bit of asterisks that need to be in there because just because you use AI doesn't mean you're going to replace me. You use AI, I use AI doesn't mean you're going to replace me in my role. So that one's more of like an annoyance to hear it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I haven't really heard of any myths per se. This vibe coding thing is kind of funny to me. Everybody building these vibe coding apps. I haven't seen very many of them that hit production and production that scale. So this is kind of crazy to me too. But I don't know if that's more of a myth. I just think that's more of a timing thing. And again, it's education.
In one sentence, what will separate AI winners from AI losers over the next 5 years?
People who redo their production line.
Like we talked about at the beginning, like from scratch,
from
you got to
scratch, go back
understand
to the
every
basics.
step, customer journey.
Go through the whole customer journey, start from the beginning, put in the work. Those people will win all day, every day.
Got it. And this might be the answer to this next question too. What's the biggest mistake you see leaders making when they first try to integrate AI into their business?
Shiny objects. I want to do everything right now. I want to automate the whole business. But you can't do that until you understand the whole business. If you don't understand the business, you can't do it. And that's the positioning that we do as well. It's like, I can't help you integrate AI into your business until I understand your business as much as you do. And the only reason I do that is because I want them to explain the business to me that they don't know about.
Yeah. That's a great consultant in itself. It's like you're just getting them to go through the work that they know they need to do, but they just haven't done it yet.
Yeah, and like the one we did this a while ago. it was pretty complex. Their systems were quite broken. It was like going through their customer journey. One of the homework we sent their team back to, and they did a fantastic job. They went and rebuilt all of their SOPs. And I was like, so just to give you an idea, I don't need those SOPs, but they're going to help you implement AI. And it was like, oh shit, I get what you're doing there. It's like I'm making them do the work so like they don't have to worry about it. So like position it, it's like I need this for next step, but I need this because you're going to need this.
I love that. I love that. As we wrap up here, how do people get a hold of you? Just, obviously we've talked a lot about the work that you do, obviously super vital. I'm more bought into kind of how you guys are doing it. Not that I wasn't before, but really knowing how aligned our view on really understanding business process and knowing the fundamentals of like how it works even before AI, like all that aligns with me. But for those people that are listening that are like, yeah, this sounds like I need somebody like this to help force me to understand process and then the expert to like help me integrate the AI. So how do they get a hold of you and anything else that you want to share with them?
Well, I mean, our software is live. So Cloud 37 AI, I mean, people can sign up and build custom agents for themselves. We do have the process where we can help you do it as well. There's a contact form there that you can reach out to us on social media. I mean, Jeff MacPherson across all social channels, pretty easy to find. My face looks the same as this, but it looks like an avatar. But that's really it. I mean, we're really passionate about helping people. We've had a lot of success, the success that these businesses are having. And most importantly, their customers are having a lot of success with it too. It's just a matter of getting this sort of education out to as many people as possible is kind of the goal for us right now.
Awesome. Well, you've been an absolute amazing guest. You guys have been listening to the Built on Purpose podcast brought to you by Yscouts. You can listen to all of our past and future podcasts at yscouts.com. Thanks again, Jeff. I appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Thank you, Max.